Welcome to Combos and Coffee. You can see I'm flying solo today. It has nothing to do with what I said in my message on Sunday. Those who heard the message will know what I'm talking about. It's got nothing to do with us painting our home. And I'm really happy to be with you today. So today we're going to start looking at winning the war in our minds. This actually is in parallel with the study being undertaken by our Bethel communities, our Bethel small groups. If you're not part of a Bethel small group, a Bethel community, be part of one. It's an awesome way to connect with other people. I want to start by reading to you from Romans chapter 12, verse 2. Don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Other versions say renewing of your mind. Then you'll learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. This Combos and Coffee series will give us all kinds of great tips on winning the war in our minds. And this is so important because we don't just have a mind, we have a mindset. We have a way of thinking, and our way of thinking impacts both good and bad what we do. We've all laid awake in the middle of the night with our minds racing. We just can't get them to stop. We count sheep. We count backwards from 100. We try to relax our faces, but we still can't get to sleep. It just doesn't work. And we've all had negative self-talk where we've called ourselves names we would never, ever call anybody else. We could be the most accomplished person in the world and still wrestle with our thoughts. We all need to win the war in our minds. We all need to have our minds renewed. And I'd like to start by beginning at the beginning, which for me means beginning with God. And I'd like to read to you from Titus chapter 3, verse 5. He saved us. That's Jesus. He saved us, not because of righteous things we have done, but because of his mercy. He saved us through the washing of rebirth and renewal by the Holy Spirit. Renewal by the Holy Spirit. That includes the renewing of our minds. So what steps can we take to allow the Holy Spirit to renew our minds? Step 1, ask the Lord to guard our minds and direct our minds. My mind is a place of my intellect, reasoning, and intentions. My behavior begins in my mind, and my mind is where spiritual transformation takes place. The object of my regular thinking will determine how my days, my years, and ultimately my life plays out. Everything starts in the mind. Too often, we simply don't bother to ask the Lord for protection and direction and oversight of my mind. So from now on, let's do our very best to start every day with a simple prayer. Here it is. Jesus, by your Holy Spirit, keep my mind firmly focused where you want it to be focused today. Easy. Step 1. Step 2. Recognize the source of self-focused and self-defeating thoughts. Given that my behavior starts in my mind, and my mind is where spiritual transformation happens, it's no surprise that the devil wants me to mess up my thinking. He wants to mess with my mind. So we know who the enemy is. And we also know the only one who can ultimately defeat him. We recognize the enemy. It's not your family. It's not your friends. It's not the mean comments that you read on your Facebook posts. It's not any of those things. Ultimately, it's the enemy. So fight him. Fight him with God's power and with scriptural truth. Step 3, replace self-focused thinking with a God-focused mindset. We all have a choice. Will we train our brains to concentrate on the things of God, or will we let them be consumed by the things of the world? To focus my mind on God requires some work, but Philippians chapter 4 encourages us. Here's verse 8 of Philippians 4. And now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. That's got to be better than thinking about the latest news all the time or the latest post. And step 4, rest in the truth that you're accepted in Jesus Christ. Someday, you're going to feel like your mind is really being renewed. I'm thinking about all those things that Philippians 4:8 tells me to think about, that you nailed it. And some days, even more days, you feel like you're losing the war. You're losing this battle for the mind. And that's okay. Because on every day, you can rest in the truth that you're at peace with God, that you're free from accusation, and that you're a child of God. Regardless of what's going on in your head, regardless of what's going on in your mind, you can know in your heart that you're accepted by Jesus Christ. He accepts you regardless of what you're thinking, regardless of where your mind runs, regardless of where your thoughts go. He loves you, he accepts you, and if you know him, you're his child. And step 5, rinse and repeat. Repeat steps 1 to 4 every day. The Spirit works to renew our minds, and we work in partnership with him. You will win the war in your mind. That's it for today. Hope you're encouraged. Bye.